Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. It just seems that we find these commonalities, with the top producers, both that you and I work with
Yes,
and frankly throughout the country. It's funny. Like you'd think that of all the top producers, it'd be like 50 different reasons, but
it's
it's way
not.
less. It's way less than 50 reasons.
It's way less. And also, I believe this in the core of my being, Carl, but I don't think success is luck. I don't at all. I think it's engineered, and I think it can be predetermined if you do proper things.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm speaking today with Kevin Broughton. Kevin and I work together and putting together one of the largest teams in the mortgage industry. Man, we've had a really good run, haven't we, Kevin?
We've been very fortunate, my friend, and we've had a lot of fun times along the way, and yeah, I'm just so grateful for what we've been able to, play a role in. It's really rewarding,
It's
and yeah, I couldn't be
It
happier.
is. It's been a real special thing. So, hey, so let's talk a little bit about some of the commonalities that you see. 'Cause you probably speak with more loan officers one on one. I would say likely, I can't think of anybody else that talks to more people. I mean, there's broadcasters like myself and Dave and
Well, I
Barry
have
and
over 1,000 conversations per year, one-on-one with different loan officers. Over a
all right.
thousand
So
different loan officers.
That's
Yeah.
got to be close to a record, if not a record. So, out of the one-on-one conversations, let's talk about some of the just a very small handful of what seems to what do these people have in common?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's something that I've studied actually, and I care about this, and I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to things like this because, as you know personally way more people that have more tactical loan knowledge than I do. But
Mm.
I'm a student of the mental mindset, and I believe in a couple things. I believe that success in the mortgage origination space is not an accident. It's not luck. It's not fate. It's not a coincidence. I really believe it's not. I believe it can be personally engineered if you understand a couple equations. And the first, I think there's three things that are
Okay,
mandatory to make
okay,
a lot of money in the loan origination space, especially in the environment that we're in and have been for the last 2.5 years. And those
okay.
three things are I do think you have to be somewhat proficient in product knowledge, um, in effective communication to both referral sources and clients. I don't think, remember in the day, we'd have these guys that would tell your gals, oh, you don't have to know a damn thing about mortgages. You just got to be a great kisser of babies and presser of the flesh and
Yeah.
go out there on the boat with the rich people and just tell them you're in the mortgage business. I don't believe that. I think you have to have a level. I don't have to think you necessarily have to be a walking dictionary of Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, and VA, know every single loan, under the sun, but I do think you must be proficient in loans. I really believe you do. And I think you must be proficient in the communication to referral sources and to borrowers. Um, and I really think that's one mandatory component. The second is harder than the first, and that's the ability to focus and adhere to a plan. And unfortunately, hell, I mean, I'm talking to the king of the plan, the DSP creator. Shockingly, some people still do not have a daily ritual. They don't have a daily success plan. Um, they do not operate off of a non-negotiable daily success plan, which when they don't, it totally limits their ability to focus on the important things. So I think focus is really number two.
What's number three?
Well, three's the hardest one, is the problem, in my opinion. Three is having the mindset of a champion. And I think it's the one that we spend the least amount of time on. I think it's the hardest one, and I think it's the most important one.
All
Um,
right. So it's product knowledge,
yes,
focusing on a like a daily success plan
yes,
and the mindset of a champion. Let's go a little deeper into these first before we go anything else. Let's go
okay,
back to the first one here for a second.
okay.
So this one kind of is a little bit of a double-edged sword.
It is.
Cause I've seen two groups of loan officers, Kevin, or more than two, but
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
subject too. So I see one set where they don't know how to spell FHA,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they don't know anything about product knowledge, right? And I
Right.
say anything. Obviously, I'm being a little overboard,
I
but
know
you
what you
get the
mean.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the other that all they do all day long that is spend time in the guidelines because when they're doing that, then they don't have to go out and prospect.
It's the
And
easier of the two for them, and that's why they do it, and that's why they're broke. I don't mean to be rude, but that is why. And
yeah.
anyone that
So
knows every single guideline, most of them are not top producers from a volume and income standpoint because of what you said. They spend too many hours being the perfect, and they
so
don't
where
sell.
so where's the balance here? Like how do I know, okay, I do this many hours of product knowledge per week, and then I do this many hours of prospecting. Like how do you
It
balance
depends
that?
where you're at in your career and where you're at in your business. Let me clarify that for a moment. Um, if you need a paycheck 30 days from now to eat, then you should spend very little time on the product knowledge. You must go out and prospect to somebody that needs to borrow money from you now. That's a fact. If you
Yeah.
don't have money and you need money, you must go prospect. Your only job then today is to create, keep, or grow a client. There is no other job. If you have a business and you have 11 loans closing this next month and you have a pipeline of 18 loans for December or the next month or whatever it is, then you can allocate more hours this week to being proficient in a reverse mortgage or being proficient in a
Mhm.
VA IRRRL or something of that nature. But it really comes down to what is your current situation? Do you have a job? Do you have a career? Or do you have a business? Because that's what every
Mhm.
loan officer in this country falls into one of those three. So I do agree with you. It's difficult, but it's really the easiest of the three. And the general belief, I think, should be, hey, you got to be smart about loans. Do you need to know every single thing about I-10 loan if you only do one a year? No, you don't need to sit there for 6 hours today and study the guidelines on that. However, if you know nothing about any sorts of mortgages, I think you have a very steep uphill battle at being
Mhm.
monetarily successful in this industry.
Yeah, it's just fun. So one thing that I did, and see if you agree with this. One thing that I did was I spent Fridays. So what I did, man, it's hard. Like, when do you know enough? And you never know
Yeah,
everything. Like, I don't care
right.
who you are, you
You'll
don't.
never know everything.
Nobody knows everything, right? And so
Nope.
it's like, well, when do I know enough? So what I did was I prospected Monday through Thursday,
Hmm.
and then Friday was my day of like in the mornings, I focused in on things that took cerebral activity, i.e., learning product knowledge,
Yep.
right? So say like 2, 3 hours every Friday morning, I would go into guidelines. I would look at different loan scenarios. I'd go hang out at the deal desk,
Yep.
and just kind of,
Soak it
tap
in.
on, like find somebody like Allison. Not that anybody's like Allison, but
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
that pretends to be like Allison and go tap on her shoulder and say, "Hey, tell me about the last four loans that you turned from no's into yeses, and
Right.
how'd you do that?" Right. So she's been coming on Breakfast Club and sharing that with us. That's been helpful. And then on Friday afternoons was when I'd set up my CRM. I'd figure out how
Right.
to do that video thing or that Facebook thing or that Instagram thing or whatever it would be on Friday afternoons. Is that is that kind of would that be enough, do you think? Like two,
Yeah,
three
I think
hours?
it's 100% enough. There's a belief that I have about what's called a strategic IQ, and that is how many hours a week we spend on tactical things versus on strategic things. And strategic things are learning, reading, podcasting,
Hmm.
increasing our knowledge base. And tactical is doing stuff, taking loan applications, structuring loans, going to closings, prospecting, that kind of stuff's all tactical. And the
Okay.
strategic, and as a general rule, most loan officers spend too many hours in the tactical and too few hours in the strategic. It's
Mm.
just quite that simple. Of course, is it a 50-50 mix? No, because we got to do stuff. That's tactical. It's probably a 75 to 80 on the tactical and 20 on the strategic. And strategic again is learning, reading, journaling, things like that, getting introspective about your business, thinking. Thinking's a big one. Thinking could be the biggest strategic asset most loan officers have, and they don't spend any time thinking about thinking. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that kind of leads us to number two. And number two is focus. And, Carl, we all get this, but the world's a noisy place, isn't it? I mean, there's so many distractions, and the definition of focus is elimination of distraction. And so we live in a
Mm,
noisy world, and it's very easy to fall prey to the noise. Um, I used to be a noise attractor, and I stopped that about a decade ago. And my life is drastically improved because of my ability to block out the noise and to focus. And it takes a lot. You got to be held accountable to someone. I'm extremely lucky. I have an accountability partner who sits in my office, and most people don't have that. If you don't
mm,
have that and you think that that's something you might be interested in, call me one day and I'll explain to you the benefits of that. But I'm held accountable 9 hours a day,
mm,
like literally. And so I'm allowed to focus because of two things. I only do high leverage activities. I don't do low leverage activities, and I'm held accountable to an hourly outcome. So focus is tough, but what I love most about Mortgage Marketing Animals and what you've designed is the daily success plan, because focus is one thing, but having a blueprint's another. So any person in your fold can get a blueprint in 5 minutes. Then it's up to them to then focus on the activities at hand. But I think as a general rule, when loan officers take a real look at how many hours they spend only doing high leverage activities versus how many hours in a week they spend doing low leverage activities, there's a direct correlation to your income and to the number of
mm,
families you assist per year. It's that simple.
mhm. How does that work? So when you have, boy, we could almost do a whole podcast on just that topic of, so you have somebody that's accountable in your office. Now, just to clarify, that person is on your payroll, you're not on theirs. Is that correct?
100% correct.
So you
100% correct.
so you pay this person basically to thump you on the chest and say, "Hey, man, you said you're going to do this. I don't have it on my desk yet."
I'll
And
give you a
maybe that's
prime example. I'll give you a
okay.
prime example. Yesterday, I had a cancellation, which does happen occasionally. And just being honest, when I got the notification of the canceled appointment, I kind of got a little smile because I was like, oh, all right.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I got an hour off, right? And within 1 minute of the cancellation, the person that we're speaking of said, "Great news. I'm glad we had that cancellation. I have placed 4 phone numbers on your desk. I need you to call each of those 4 people within the next 30 minutes and report back to me on what the outcomes of each of those calls were. Can you do that right now?"
Mm,
And I said, "Yes, I can. And here is the 4 phone numbers and names."
yep,
And she
yep.
put little handwritten notes on what I have to call about. And I called all four. I had them all done within 30 minutes. Two of the four picked up. I reported back to her. She made the notes she had to make and moved them along our process based on the results of that call. And then I thought, all right, I still have a half hour. And she said, "Hey, do you have another few minutes?" And I said, "Sure." She goes, "It would be really beneficial if you called this person, this person, this person before you left today. I really feel better if you did." And I said, "Okay." And so I ended up making 7 calls during that hour that I thought I had off. That's accountability. That's teamwork,
Mm,
and that is focus. And if you're ever on any of the stuff I'm on, Carl, like I get the great privilege of every other Tuesday coming on the LOBC, but my favorite line ever in my life is that champions are built on the other side of I don't feel like it. And
mm,
I don't care who you are. There are days you
mm,
don't feel like it. And to be honest, yesterday I didn't feel like making those 7 calls at 4 p.m. And I did it because two reasons. One, it's the right thing to do. Number two, I had a consequence if I didn't. And so champions are built on the other side of I don't feel like it. That is a fact. And focus is tough. But when you're committed to focus, if you'll be willing, I believe that winners love accountability and losers hate accountability. I think
mm,
accountability is a great thing. And
mm.
every winner I know believes that too. It's the people that are unsuccessful that tell me, "Oh, I hate accountability. It's ridiculous. It's stupid." Oh, okay, great. Well, you're held accountable to someone, aren't you? I think the lovely Mrs. Wife has expectations, correct? You're accountable. Your whole network, you employ a lot of people. They need you to do your job, don't they?
Yeah, I have two people that I answer to. One is Diane, who I've been
Yep.
answering to her for the last, oh, that's not true. Probably for the first year we worked together. Um, she was just getting her sea legs,
Yep, yep.
it's that. But for the last, I don't know, 23 years, yeah, she just in the same, she just like she thumps me in the chest, but she does it out of love and respect. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Same with my work
yeah.
partner. She doesn't ever do anything disrespectful, but she makes it clear that this is what we agreed to and it's got to get done. There's
You know,
really
you know what
no.
this, you know what this really comes down to is the activity isn't sexy, but the results are,
Yeah, that's
you know?
100%
Mhm.
true, and I think like, do you know the linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens named Ray Lewis? He doesn't play football
Let,
anymore.
let's pretend that I do.
He has an incredible video. I'll look it up and send it to you one day soon. It's incredible. And it's about the hunt and how winners love the hunt more than they love the
Mhm.
catch. And
Mhm.
it is awesome. I watch it all the time, and I'll make sure I get a copy over to you. You'll love it. But that's kind of what we're talking about. Like what you just said, some days you do a bunch of stuff that produce no visible result that day, right? That's the hunt. And if you don't love the hunt, this is the wrong business for you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, if you want to close one loan a month, you don't need to love the hunt. But if you want to build a business in this arena, you better love the hunt. And
Yeah.
it's an awesome little 3 minute video. It's really cool. Easily findable on YouTube. I think if you just type in Ray Lewis the Hunt or something like that, you'd probably
Yeah,
find
it'll
it.
come
But
up.
anyhow, yeah, focus is tough, right?
All
Focus
right,
is not an easy thing.
so we got product knowledge,
Focus,
which if somebody's looking for a plan on that, maybe only on Fridays and for a couple hours. That's not to say, like, hey, we have a loan situation going on, and I'm going, crap, I don't know what to do here. And I'd go to Allison per se and say, hey, Allison, what can I do? I'm going to learn product knowledge while working on that file. But as far as like just studying to be studying,
correct.
let's keep doing that for Friday. So number two, the ability to focus on a what we call the daily success plan or a daily success plan.
Yeah,
Number
I love
three,
yours, but any ritual counts. But yeah, I think yours is the best blueprint I've seen. And but if you have another one, it doesn't really matter as long as you're doing high leverage activities every day.
you know what it so, dude, if you go into Chat GPT, which I did this,
Yes,
if you go into Chat GPT and say, what's the conversion rate of social media leads for loan officers? It's 0.5 to 2%. So
correct.
let's pick the average of one,
One.
1%. So I need to talk to 100 people to close one. So then I asked it, what percent of realtor referrals convert to closings on average. And it said between 20 and 40. 40 seems a little high to me, frankly. Uh, but like I think that 20, 25, that's a tried and true number. So about 20%. So for me, it's like, all right, I can either do a plan that converts at 0.5, or I can do a plan that converts at 20 or 25.
Well, more
Like,
simple numbers, you can talk to four people and get one closing, or you can talk to 100 people and get one closing.
yeah, which is easier,
I'd
and
rather
frankly,
talk
which
to
is
four.
cheaper. Yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
here. All right, and then the third one is mindset of a champion. Tell me about that one. This one.
So this is tough, right? Because especially we're not in 2020 and 2021 where you could walk in
Yeah,
a grocery store and 9 out of 10 people in line could benefit from your service, right? That's not the
yeah.
market we live in. So the imposter syndrome is real. Um, we face little demons sometimes in our head of, are we doing it right? Are we doing it enough? Am I doing it? Does it make sense what I'm doing? Is it working? Um, am I worthy of tremendous success? A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, just made $83,000 last month in the mortgage business, which happens to be 83 times 12 is $1 million. So that person, if they could duplicate last month, would be a seven-figure income earner in today's environment. Um, he
Can
thinks
can
he's
you
worthy. He thinks he's
can can
worthy.
can we name drop that, or is that we can?
I'd rather not. I hate
Okay,
talking about people's income that,
okay,
without their
okay.
permission, but
Yep, I hear you. Okay,
my point is, some people say I'm not worthy of that. I disagree 1,000%. I think you're as worthy as you choose to be if your sole mission and goal is to help enough people achieve the goal of home ownership or to put them in a better financial spot.
Hey, let's talk about this one for a minute. So I've shared this many times here on the podcast that I came from what some would call lower middle class. I would call it poor. So I came from
Okay.
poor.
Yeah.
And we were rich in love. We were rich in family ethics, right?
Yep.
But monetarily, man, it was tough. Like it was
Yep.
tough, right?
Yep.
And so I really struggled with this. That it took me, yeah, I struggled with this one. Like it took me a long time. I remember the first year I made $1 million in the business, which off the top of my head, I think it was like and Diane would know this better than I would, but probably somewhere around the fifth or sixth year, I made
Okay.
my first $1 million year. And man, I really struggled with that. Like I kept thinking it was luck or this can't last because I'm not worthy of this. How do you how do you reset that visual image? So I reset it. It just took a long time.
Well,
Like
the reason you couldn't reset it quicker, Carl, is you didn't have the best mentors at the time. And so
Mm,
you didn't kind of, I'll bet you didn't understand that fear was really the
mm,
acronym for false evidence appearing real. That's what
mm,
fear really stands for. And you were fearful for the wrong reasons, and it's simply because you had never experienced it before and it was so foreign to your upbringing. You didn't know any guys in the areas you grew up that made $1 million in a year, right? You didn't know one.
mm,
And so I think that's really natural, but I think it's inaccurate thinking. And I'm not blaming anyone who has that thinking. I think it's natural. I just think it can be overcome because the fact is, there's
mm,
no one that doesn't deserve greatness if they choose to do the things that most other people are too lazy or too unwilling to do. And that's what you've heard me use the term stacking days. I believe in it more than anyone you've ever met. And stacking days is so hard. And that's part of this whole mental game is how do you stack days when you don't get a result? How do you make 48 phone calls today and 46 people hung up on you and called you a jerk if that happens?
mm,
How do you make them again tomorrow? How do you make them with the same energy? How do you make them with the same voice inflection? How do you make them with the same upbeat and positive attitude and the all in and the gusto that it takes, you know? How do you do that? You got to have the mind of a champion. You got to have the mind. And I'll give everyone here just a quick, really cool little thing you can do to help with this. Um, you know personally, because you know me, but you know I love a guy that wrote a book 87 years ago in 1937 named Napoleon Hill. He wrote a book
mm.
called Think and Grow Rich, right?
Yeah.
Every single thing that he put in that book 87 years ago is still true today. And
Hmm.
I'm a student of success. I love like attacking the mental side of things. And so I love to work on that. And I think very few people work on it. Some are just
Hmm.
naturally gifted at it, but most don't work at it. But like he had 10 rules for guaranteed success. These were written 90 years ago and they're still true today. But the first one was having a definite purpose. So just think about that. How many loan officers have a definite purpose that they could deliver in a nanosecond if asked? Not everyone. That's rule number one. Number two, he puts it, in some of his words are a little weird because it's so long ago, but it was getting along peacefully with others. That's how he phrased it. But think
Hmm.
about that. How important is it for you to appeal to the masses? We have to cast wider nets, right? I'm not asking anyone not to be authentic, but this people of bringing folks down and build, I build people up. I don't tear people down. I think it's important to be able to get along with the highest number of people. You can put me in the room with the janitor or the CEO. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't treat either of them differently. Um, but getting along peacefully with others. Believe. I know it sounds nuts, but most people I talk to in our space don't believe that they're going to have the success or that they're worthy of the success. And if you don't believe it's going to come true, I
Hmm.
guarantee you it won't. That was number three. Number four was your only limit is yourself. And think about that. We have self-limiting beliefs, most people. I chose to get rid of that. I remember this a weird, funny story, but we couldn't pay our bills a long time ago. Like we had two drawers of
Hmm.
invoices we could pay and invoices we didn't have enough money to pay. And we'd have to call those vendors and say, I can't pay you this month. Do you want to put us out of business or do you want to work with us? And thankfully, no one said we want to put you out of business. But at that same time, this guy kept coming into my life every day telling me we're going to close $1 billion. I'm thinking, a billion? This cat's out of his mind. I can't
Mm,
buy pizzas for the Christmas party this year. And this cat's telling me we're going to close $1 billion. But he never stopped saying it to me like every day. And 36 months later, we closed $1 billion in business.
mm.
And that was, I don't know, 11, 12 times what we had done. So we 12 times our business in 36 months. And then we did it again and we closed three times that in 24 months. And so the abundance can come, but if you have a limiting belief system, it can't.
You
Um,
know what I think? You know what I think it is, man? I think it's hanging out with the right people.
your tribe, it matters. It matters. Well,
Yeah.
that's why, like, I love your group, the LOBC. To me, I get the great privilege of going on there every week. And that's the best community in the mortgage industry. Every single person there is supportive, nice, educated, kind, intelligent, hardworking, all in, others first. You couldn't find a better group of people. And
Mm,
if you think that doesn't matter, you are wrong. I know many, many, many top producers. I personally know probably more people that have closed 100 million in a year than most people in the United States know. And they all believe in that. Every single one of them believes that who they choose to affiliate with matters. It's not, it's way more important than you know. If you want to hang around the wrong people, I can show you guys who have terrible outcomes.
yeah, I was going to say probably equally as important is who not to hang out with.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, just think about it. We all know that person. If you pull into your parking lot and you see two cars there, you say, "Oh my God, I hope that guy's not really here." That you got the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just quickly to finish this Napoleon Hill's 10 rules for success, but the
Yeah.
fifth one was take action. We just spent a half hour on taking action. The sixth one is improve your personality. And again, this is written 90 years ago, but think about
Mm,
it. It's kind of what you just said. If you're going to walk around and be a jerk and tear people down and be negative and tell
mm,
everything how what sucks and this sucks and that sucks, you're not gonna grow. You're not gonna guarantee your success. We must care about how we act, how we interject, how we talk, how we communicate, how we treat people. Is it out of love?
mm,
I know it sounds corny, but to me that matters. Number seven was to create, recognize, and act on opportunities. There's so many opportunities that exist in our business today, it's not even funny. I have a friend of mine who lives in your home state who's an incredible guy. His name is Don Mall. And he saw an opportunity 3 years ago to play a larger role in helping folks that had just gotten divorced with their finances. And today, 100% of his business is driven from family law attorneys in the state of Florida. He has spoke at more conferences. He has gone on more meetings than anyone I know. He has built a network and he is in the inner circle of the Florida Bar Association and he provides insane value to people, consumers, and to lawyers throughout your state because he saw an opportunity that didn't have a ton of players in it and he became the expert. It's really an awesome little success story about creating, recognizing, and acting upon opportunities. And sometimes we have blinders on, we can't see them. And that's why we need trusted advisors and coaches and people that we care about and that care about us so that they can remove those blind spots because we all have them. You have them, I have them, everyone
mm,
has them. So, anyway, that's important. Success must be planned. Very few loan officers really operate off of a plan. I believe that's a core component to success is it must be planned and it must be earned in advance. And then moving with courage and determination. That's kind of what we're spending all this time on the mindset of a champion. It's moving with courage and determination. And then the last thing he said was, something I've always heard, and I think I don't know who originally said it, maybe Henry Ford or something, but whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And
mm,
it's true. If you don't believe you can close 50 million in a year, you are not closing 50 million. I
mm,
guarantee it. If you do, though, however, conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. It's a choice. It is not luck. It is a choice, but better get that mental side right. And there's things you can do to get the mental side right.
Man, a lot of good stuff in here. I could do another episode just on that list of 10 from the Think and Grow Rich. I think, though, I think you're I think I think that your three things of product knowledge, working on a plan, and hanging out with the right people, I think everything kind of falls under one of those three.
It
Uh,
always does. It always
yeah.
does. It's simple. I think we complicate stuff, and you know me, I'm not a complicated guy. I'm a regular
Mhm.
dude. I just believe that all three of those matter, and the mindset to me is the most important. And there's things you can do to improve your mental mindset if you choose to make that a focal point of your business. If you don't, then that's okay. I just don't know any mega producers or anyone that's achieved tremendous success in this industry that doesn't understand you got to win at the mental side of it too. It's a
Mhm.
tough road, right? And
Yeah.
you can get beaten up. I have a lot of days that produce zero results, a lot. They just
Hmm.
don't deter me in any way, shape, or form. I don't think about it for 5 seconds when I get home. I don't say I had a bad day. I don't say today sucked. I don't say I got nothing. I never say those words.
You
It's
know
the
what it
process.
is? I've learned sometimes when we flip a quarter, 10 times in a row it'll land on tails.
Yep.
But then I know that 10 times is going to land on heads is coming up. Like it's just
A
a
fact.
numbers game.
Yeah,
It's just a
just
number game.
it
So
is.
hey, so if you want to hear more from Kevin, Kevin's on every other Wednesday on the Loan Officer
Tuesday, every
Breakfast
other
Club.
Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday, I'm sorry. Every other Tuesday on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. And so you can check us out on loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. We meet probably anywhere from 400 to 700 of us meet on a Zoom meeting. It's the largest Zoom meeting in the entire industry of nothing but loan officers, and we meet every morning, Monday through Friday. So love for you to be a part of that. And when you're ready to, if 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 we could show you how to close another 5 loans, would you give us 30 minutes to show you how to do that? And a lot of it's based on the principles that Kevin's talking about, but we'll actually map out the exact plan, the step-by-step plan. So if we could show you how to close another 5 loans each and every month, would you give us 30 minutes to show you how to do that? And if the answer is a resounding yes there, meet me at getmoreloans.com, getmoreloans.com, and we'll map you out a complete plan of step by step of exactly how to close an extra 5 loans a month. GetMoreLoans.com. Kevin, you're an awesome dude. I absolutely adore you. I think the next time we're hanging out face to face, I think it's going to be at our annual
Yeah,
shindig up
I
in
can't wait. I
Detroit.
can't wait. We're gonna have a blast, and I'm so excited, hey, to see you and just to get together. You're gonna see a lot of folks you haven't seen in a little bit too, and it's gonna be a true celebration. Hey, I just had one quick thing. That
Sure.
LOBC that you do every morning, that's free.
Well, it's free to the attendees. It's not free to me. So
Yeah.
there's a pretty good people don't understand the production that goes behind something like that. I mean, there's it's you see the little you think well it's just a Zoom meeting, but there's a lot of moving parts in that too.
I can
We
only
we
imagine 700
I
people every morning. I
yeah,
don't know how you do it.
and just finding the right talent and the right people, and then we go through the Facebook community and make sure that everybody's positive. And if we got an Eeyore in the group, we try to have a conversation with that person saying, "Hey, man, we're looking for people to inspire people, not to put them down." And
I'll just tell you one thing that's really important to me. I'm not talking about the day I speak. That's probably not the best day, but like that Frank Garay starting off with that spark every morning, that changes how my
I love
mind
Frank.
starts the day. And I love that. I literally look forward to it, and it always brings me back to what am I going to do? What's my purpose today? And it helps the
Mm,
mental side for me. You know, that guy is awesome, and he really
yeah,
helps me. And
I
I
love
can't
Frank.
believe that that's available to every loan originator in this country without having to pay a dime for it. And I think you're crazy if you don't get on that. I think of like I have these business cards. You can't see them all, but on my desk, and all they have on there is core values of mine. That's it.
Mm,
I try to read three every day and try to see how that one word could change my mental side of
mm,
today. And every time I get on that LOBC and Frank starts this thing with that spark, It's always
Yeah.
around one of these things. It always makes me laser focus on something important that day. It's a
Well,
huge help to me
it just goes
personally.
back to who you're hanging out with,
That's right. That's
back to
the
who,
community. That's what you
yeah,
talked about in the
yeah.
tribe and the community and the vibe and all that. It so matters. And I don't know, anyone not starting the day off that way to me.
And it's an honor to have you as part of that. So getmoreloans.com, getmoreloans.com. You are worthy, and we'll help show that to you. So,
Awesome.
Kevin, I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, right back at you, brother. And I will see you in just a few short weeks. I can't wait.
See you in a couple weeks, buddy. All
All
right. Bye
right,
bye.
take care. Bye.